I got greetings from the President of the United States. I was going to be drafted. I was going to go into service. And that was, I don't know, June or July of '51. So I went and had my physical in Omaha, and I passed that, and everybody, there were 12 of us from York County that went. And after we had our physicals, then we come home for, I think it was 3 weeks, something like that. And then we went back to be inducted. Well, when we got back there, the story was around that the Marine Corps was asking for volunteers. Well, I had an older brother that was in the Second War in the Marines, so I went to work, and everybody wants to step forward who wants to join the Marines did. I was one of the 12 that stepped forward. So that's how I got into the Marine Corps. I've got my license plate on my pickup. Once a Marine, always a Marine. I didn't know what I was going to get into because I signed up for heavy equipment. Well, they always tell you, you sign up for one, they'll give you something else. But I did. I had an 1800 ammo, and that was heavy armor. I was in tank battalion. We trained in California for the old M4 tanks. That's with the gear shift and everything. Well, when we was aboard ship, we found out that they had replaced them all with the new M41. And that had an automatic transmission and had a direct fire 90 millimeter gun on. So while I was aboard ship, they gave us a manual on it. And well, I went through it. I knew mechanical things. So it had a hydromatic transmission, drove it with a wobble stick. It had a V12 800 horse engine in it.
So what's the difference between running a tractor and running a tank?
Well, they're mechanical. Tank had an air-cooled engine. That was an air-cooled engine. There was 5-man crew. There was one driver and assistant driver, and then there was a gunner and a loader and a tank commander. And we all fit in that little box. But there was 4.5 inches of armor-plate steel around, which is kind of comforting when somebody's shooting at you. Aboard ship, they give us a few tests, and I passed them all. And so with it I became corporal. Within 3 months after I was in the service, I made from private first class to corporal. Well, then we was overseas, and we landed at Incheon. They put us on trucks and then took us to the staging area. First thing that happened the next morning was the sun come up in the north. And I thought, oh boy, I'm going to have to spend the whole year in Korea. As a farm boy, you know, east, west, north, and south means something. And the sun come up in the north, and I thought, oh, how am I going to put up with this for a whole year? We done a lot of firing and things like that. See, this 90 on that tank was a direct fire. Anything within 1 mile range, you just point blank zeroed in on and shot, and you got hit, because the muzzle velocity in that was the same as an M1 rifle, but it was 4.5 inches projectile. When we arrived, we got up on the front lines, and CO took us up in a bunker that was in a trench line. And the night before, a squad had went out, infantry, and North Koreans had caught him. They took him out and hung him on a tripod, upside down, naked, and set up enough booby traps and everything around that nobody could get to him. And he hung there 3 days before he died, by his feet. And that was probably part of our training, because after that you didn't hesitate one bit to blow one of them away. You know, you lost all respect for life from the other part. Everybody didn't get that training, but I witnessed it, and it stuck with me, still sticking with me. About 6 weeks before I was supposed to come home, the company commander come in and said there was infantry at a certain area was having problems with the Koreans and 3-point deuce rocket shooting in there. That's a bazooka weapon. It's like a stovepipe with a They shove a projectile in it. He says, I know you're due to rotate, but he says, I know you will do this job. So I went out and we pulled into position, and I got out of the turret and went to hook up comm wires in the back. And just got back there, and boom, the old tank went bouncing. And I jumped right back up, got on, jumped back inside, and I said, what you guys shooting at? Because when you shot that 90, the tank would rear back. And we didn't do any shooting. Well, we got hit from a deuce 3.2. It wasn't a big enough projectile to harm us, but we did get kind of metal, kind of just like butter, you know, it smears. And so I went back outside and hooked up the wires, and then we finished the job.
And so you think that the Army being there made a difference in
Oh
that?
yeah, when I left, Seoul was a bombed out city. I mean, I've got some pictures of it, and and now it's a metropolis. So I think we done a lot of good for the country. It was an experience that I told Dad when I got home, I wouldn't take $1 million, but you give me $1 million, I won't do it again. So that's the way I felt about it. War is hell. I don't care what anybody says. It's something I don't wish anybody to experience. I can really feel for those guys over there in Iraq, because when you're in combat, your heart beats so loud you wish it'd be quiet because it's making too much noise. I had problems coming home after I was there. We come back to San Francisco, and we got a 30-day leave after we got indoctrinated out and everything. And I rode the train, and a brother lives in Julesburg, Colorado. And I stopped there, and I was sick as a dog. And he went and took me to the hospital. The doctor says, you're just a bundle of nerves. He says, you're just going to have to suck it up and go home. That's what the whole deal was. I was a different person.
Were you fearing going home?
Well, I suppose I was. I didn't realize it, but that's you know, I went home as a little country boy and come back with a lot of growing up in in a year and a half's time.
Yeah. Now they would call that post-traumatic stress.
Well, I suppose. But I mean, I was, I don't know what my symptom was, but I was sick. And so he and his wife took me to Sydney to the hospital and checked me over. That's what the doctor said. He says, you're just a bundle of nerves. He says, bothering you going home.